Animals can exhibit loyalty even when they aren't under your care. In a remarkable incident, a young boy found himself lost in the wilderness. Miraculously, a dog discovered him, but the events that unfolded next were truly astonishing. 14-year-old Juan Heriberto Trevino resides in Mexico and eagerly awaited the conclusion of the school year, signaling the start of his summer break. Excitement bubbled within him as he looked forward to a period of leisure and relaxation away from the confines of the classroom. Due to his parents' demanding work schedules, a significant portion of his summer was spent at his grandmother's house, a place he cherished visiting. However, the space available there for outdoor activities was limited, hindering his ability to fully engage in play and amusement. Occasionally, he managed to visit his friends, seizing the opportunity to ride bikes and frolic in the nearby park. On fortunate occasions, they even embarked on hikes, guided by the availability of his friends' parents. Yet much of his summer was marked by indoor pastimes, encompassing games and television. Juan possessed an innate affinity for outdoor play and revelry, but the urban environment of his grandmother's and parents' residence imposed certain safety concerns that discouraged solitary outdoor ventures. Furthermore, the absence of suitable spaces for such endeavors further deterred him. The distance to local parks posed a challenge. Although he could visit shops and enjoy arcade games, this alone didn't fulfill his desire for active engagement. While he was certainly enjoying himself, his parents harbored the aspiration to enrich his summer with more expansive undertakings. With the intention of providing him with grander experiences, they diligently sought out opportunities that would immerse him in the natural world. Eventually, their search led them to discover a summer camp nestled within the Mexican wilderness, promising him a chance to partake in outdoor adventures beyond his wildest dreams. They would camp in the Sierra Madre Oriental Mountains and had adventures in the mountains. There was a wonderful summer camp where they could birdwatch and go hiking, and the camp leaders would teach them all about nature and survival skills. They told Juan about the camp, and he was on board straight away. He couldn't wait to go. The weeks leading up to the camp were spent getting everything ready for his adventure. He got new hiking shoes, and his grandmother took him for a walk each day to break the shoes in. They also made sure to pack him a nice warm sleeping bag and jacket, since the camp warned them that the nights in the mountains got really cold. It might have been summer, but he had to be prepared for anything. But what they didn't know was that all of the preparations they made still wouldn't prepare him for what was really going to happen. They packed his bags, and he was super excited about going out into the great outdoors. He had trouble sleeping the night before he was going that morning. His parents had both taken time off work to take him to camp. Since this was his first camp ever, it was a pretty big deal. They drove up into the mountains. It was beautiful, and they all just knew that this was going to be one of the most special experiences that Juan ever had. His parents got to see the campgrounds and meet his camp leader before it was time to go. Juan walked with them to their car to say goodbye. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a big Labrador retriever came out of the woods. He came up to Juan and pushed against his legs, waiting for him to scratch him. It was really sweet. Some of the staff at the camp saw what was happening, and they laughingly explained that the beautiful Labrador's name was Max. Max's family lived close to the summer camp. His owners were an older man and woman who had lived in the area for years. Max didn't have any of his own children, except when the grandkids came to visit, but he loved children, and the smart dog quickly realized that if he came to visit the camp, he would get loads of attention. Ever since he was a small pup, his family knew that whenever Max disappeared for a few hours, he was probably at the camp or on a hike with one of the camp groups. The camp staff all knew Max, and he was always welcome to go with them. With the dog beside him, Juan watched his parents drive off. He was a little nervous and very excited about the adventure that awaited him. The group gathered together and played a few games to get to know each other. Juan quickly made a bunch of friends, and he knew that they were going to have a blast. When it started to get later, everyone had to prepare for dinner and get ready for the night. They had already set up their tents and got their sleeping bags ready. Now they had to get dinner ready, and to do that, they needed firewood. Some of the children prepared the food, while a different group, including Juan, volunteered to go out and get firewood. They walked into the woods and looked for little sticks to make fire. Walking out of the camp, they didn't notice that Max had followed them into the wilderness. Juan wandered off slightly from the group, and because he didn't know the area very well and it was getting dark, he didn't see the ravine before he fell into it. It was very steep, and there was no way he could get out. Plus, he didn't have a phone or anything to let people know where he was. It could be a dangerous disaster. In the meantime, the rest of the group headed back to the camp. This was the first day at camp, and they didn't know each other very well yet. If one person went missing, they didn't have a best friend who would notice right away. Sadly, that was why it took a while before they noticed that Juan wasn't there. As soon as they did, some of the camp staff went out to look for Juan, but in the dark, they couldn't find any trace of him. They had to call his parents and stop the search for the night. It was a scary situation. They knew that the temperatures dropped significantly through the night. It could be really dangerous for the boy who was all alone in the wilderness. Setting out for a walk without warm attire, Juan found himself isolated in an unfamiliar locale, a distressing situation. As dawn broke the following day, a search operation was initiated. Their quest led them to the area where the youngsters had sought firewood. Initial efforts yielded no trace of Juan, yet later they discovered markings near a ravine. It dawned upon them that Juan had ventured into the gorge and subsequently veered away from the ravine's base, an imprudent choice given the mountain's perilous nature, unbeknownst to him. With another frigid night looming, his parents grappled with profound worry. The seemingly interminable night passed with restless anxiety, but with the arrival of morning, renewed search efforts commenced. Scouring both upward and downward along the ravine, their astonishment was palpable upon finally glimpsing the boy. More astonishing still was the presence of Max, the loyal dog, steadfastly at Juan's side. Following Juan's wilderness misadventure, Max pursued him and ultimately found him, yet it was the subsequent events that truly caught everyone off guard. Juan recounted the aftermath of their airlift from the ravine. It became apparent that Max, witnessing Juan's fall, had swiftly joined him in a display of remarkable devotion. Despite having limited acquaintance with the boy, the devoted dog remained by his side throughout the daunting 44-hour trial. As night fell, Max nestled on Juan's lap, providing warmth and comfort throughout the night. The following morning, when Juan's thirst was overwhelming, the dog guided him to a puddle, quenching their thirst. Once again, as darkness enveloped them, Max faithfully shielded Juan from the elements, ensuring his safety. Juan recounted to everyone that Max steadfastly accompanied him, instilling a sense of security throughout the ordeal. Juan received treatment for exhaustion and dehydration, emerging from the experience with minimal injuries. The family expressed immense gratitude to Max for safeguarding their child, and Max's own family rejoiced in the safe return of their heroic canine companion.